Hello and welcome to this Southern View special from the roadsides of Bengaluru. Over the past week, the focus, whether it is because of an Instagram reel or whether it is because of a tech company deciding to walk out of the Belandur area complaining about traffic, the focus has been on Bengaluru's civic infrastructure and the mess that we live in this city. So today we decided we'll bring a special segment for you from the roadsides of Bengaluru, from one of the most notorious spots in the city on the Vartur Sarjapur road, where I have with me a bunch of students, teachers and professionals from the Inventure Academy and other schools in this area who have been campaigning for better road and traffic conditions in this city. With me is a kid, Lasya, of 12th standard, who studied this road very, very closely. How many potholes are there in this road, Lasya?
In just 650 meters, there are 139 potholes.
139 potholes in 650 meters. And young Shailaja, how long does it take to get to school?
I don't know, it takes far too much time.
It takes far too much time. Just why it takes far too much time, we're still trying to find out. But before we get to them more and find out more about their problems and what they think could be solutions, let's listen to the Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar, who took a ride with my colleague Deepak Bopanna earlier in the day.
It's the dawn of a new era for Bengaluru as the BBMP goes away and the Greater Bengaluru Authority comes into the picture. Now, the brain and the vision behind the Greater Bengaluru Authority, of course, is the Deputy Chief Minister and the Bangalore Minister, Mr. D.K. Shivkumar. He joins us today on NDTV. Sir, thank you for speaking to NDTV. Firstly, tell us, a lot of people say, will a change of name, is this a mere change of name or is this completely going to transform Bengaluru? Tell us, what is your vision behind the Greater Bengaluru Authority and how is it going to transform the city?
See, definitely we have looked at all aspects. We want to change the governance and what are the problems of Bangalore, because Bangalore has become very big. It was unable to manage. That is why we have deployed too much of staff in the lower level. We have increased the wards. With 198 wards, whatever the infrastructure was there, whatever the officers were looking at was very short. Now we decided, because there is a big, a lot of people coming to Bangalore, the population has increased. That is why we decided, we made it 5 corporations. And for the bigger projects of Bangalore, we have made it a Greater Bangalore. We have kept the 74th Amendment intact. So, in order to help the citizens of Bangalore keep city clean and see that all these problems will be sorted out, we have decided to make a GBA and the 5 corporations.
Interesting that you say this, because a few days ago I visited around the Madhepura area, Sarjapur, Vartur. Here people are saying that because it's the border of the BBMP limits, a lot of struggle, confusion about funding. Do you think that the GBA will be able to resolve these sort of minor issues?
All that area, whatever they are speaking, is not in the GBA. It is out of the GBA. Some of area in the Panchayat limits, some of the area in the corporation limits. That is why we wanted to bring all those area in the corporation limits. Now, as on today, we have not brought the entire area of Madhepura in the corporation limits. Because the population for a normally assembly segment will have about 2.5 lakhs voters. Now it is 3.5 times the more. 3.5 the more. That is only for the 2 assembly segments we have made 1 corporation. To make some corporation, there are big challenges connected with that. We are on the way in the process. I have deputed a separate corporation for especially that area to be problems to be resolved, and we are at it.
Interesting that you say particularly about this area, because a lot of IT, people working in the IT sector, they are saying that we pay the highest number of taxes. Why aren't we getting enough facilities? Yesterday and the last couple of days, we've seen a lot of chorus. The CEO of a popular company, a firm, has said that he'll move out of Belandur. When you listen to all of this, how does it make you feel as a Bangalore?
I wish him all good luck for him. If he wants, if he doesn't satisfied about this manpower, this talent, these facilities, I can't stop him. But no one can threaten the government. I'm telling you, I'm telling this on record. They can't threaten the government. We are there to serve the people of the state. We know our responsibility. This is Bangalore. He knows that before doing business here, everything is there. No, I'm telling you, you take it from record. No one will go out of Bangalore. Since their financial or their business problem, they might have some business problem, they may looking at blackmailing a government will not work for them.
Then you have Mr. Nara Lokesh who comes and says, come to Vizag.
Let them go, please. Let them go. Who said? Who is stopping them? No one can match Bangalore. What infrastructure we have creating, we are doing it. No one, no. Why are they not asking the central government, Modi government or the central government to give money? They are paying taxes directly, no? Why are not they asking money? Why are none of the parliament members raised any question? Why are not they bringing money for Bangalore? It is only the state government who has taken a very big risk. I have taken a big risk of 1.25 crores. 1.25 crores we are investing for Bangalore for the next 3-4 years. It is not a small job.
You put out a social media post just yesterday. Again, crores of rupees being pumped into Bangalore to fix potholes. We just drove across a stretch which was a little bumpy. These are the sort of issues that people face on a regular basis.
See, yesterday night there was a big rain.
Yeah.
You see in the main road itself.
Yeah.
One night itself, it created a big, I think more than 4,000-5,000 potholes have been added. Even all the main road, we are putting white tapping road. We know responsibility. Let them come, let them ask. We are there to sort out their problem. But you can't threaten us. Once because some other minister calls them, I can also call them. I don't want to do that. Bangalore is not a competition to any other part of the country. Bangalore has its own systematic. Before coming to Bangalore, everyone looks at Bangalore. Why they came to Bangalore? Because they can earn here, they can look at their fortunes. All the Fortune 500 companies are there. Let it take the move side. Whomever you want, let
so
it.
One is about the companies. A bunch of young children put out a post, talking about how much time they're taking.
That is
in
all.
a school bus.
That is all politics. I am telling you, that is all politics. We can't make a flyover for every school. For the first time in the history of Karnataka and Bangalore, 111 kilometers, 12 kilometers flyover and 44 kilometers of the elevated double-decker has been designed. I have gone to the cabinet, got it approved, tender process is going on. It is not a small job. Not a small job. Bangalore is growing like anything. Every day, hundreds of companies are coming to Bangalore. The population earlier was just from 40 lakhs, it has come to 1.4 crores and more than 75 lakhs are coming to Bangalore daily.
So you set a deadline of November to fix the potholes. In the past as well, deadlines have been set. For people, what's the assurance that DK Shivakumar gives to the people of Bangalore?
I am telling you, I don't want to give any false promises.
Yeah.
I have asked my officers to give a commitment. To give a commitment. I had a meeting with them, given up the responsibility.
Yeah.
2 responsibilities I have given to them. One is cleanliness of Bangalore. Number 2 is the potholes, to make this road ready. They are at it and we will do it. It is not there are a lot of courts intervening. I am telling you on record again. Lot of courts are intervening.
Okay.
They are giving a lot of stays. For whatever the decisions the government has given, every small issue, even on the bill which has been cleared by the governor of Karnataka, they are giving a stay.
Okay.
I don't want to comment much on the judiciary.
Okay, the politicians have spoken, the Deputy Chief Minister has spoken, the rain gods are speaking, as luck would have it for all of us here, standing here on the roadside here in Varthur. It only gets worse with the rain, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Do you think there can be a solution to this, Aditya?
Yeah, I think if we fix all the potholes and we educate and give a lot of awareness about lane discipline, we can definitely fix the traffic problem and we can commute even faster.
How difficult is it for a school, ma'am, to accommodate transportation needs? How long does it take on an average for students to reach from home to school?
So on average it takes more than an hour. I've been with this school for last 20 years and I used to travel, when I started it used to take me 20 minutes to reach from Whitefield here. Now it takes me more than 1.5, almost 1.5 hours to reach here.
Why has it changed? Why has there been such a dramatic change in the time that's taken for people to travel? Is it because of the number of people on the roads or is it because of the quality of the roads?
I think it's because of the quality of the road. If the potholes were not there, I think we would move faster. There wouldn't be this kind of a traffic jam. So I think it's better. That is the reason that we are facing this problem. Our buses can't move on these roads because there are so many potholes and they're just stuck in traffic for a long time.
Right, buses are stuck in traffic for a long time. You can see this traffic building up in the evening in this area. As Shailaja says, it's way too long to get to get to school from home. How far do you stay from your school and how long does it take for you?
So we stay about 14 kilometers away.
That's a long distance in Bengaluru.
Very long. And it's not just that, it's very unpredictable. And even for young children, I don't know of any other city where children have to wake up at 5 o'clock, leave from their homes at 6 or 6:30, and then by the time they get home, it's like 5 or 5:30 or 4:30. They have no energy to do anything. Some days they even miss their first period by the time they get to school.
They miss their first class. It's often, do they just complain about traffic? Is it just an excuse for them, or do they actually get stuck because school buses constantly get stuck in traffic and cannot predict the time that they reach schools?
For my son, it takes around 2 hours to reach home. When it rains, it's worse. More than 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So we just stay 17 kilometers away from our home. When on our way to school, we were scared that our vehicle would topple because of the potholes, ups and downs, and mud roads. For some stretch, it's really horrible.
Yeah. And it did topple, didn't it? There was one case of a school bus that did topple and it went viral a few days ago.
That is really unfortunate, and it's scary not only as a teacher but as a parent also. So, we are really looking at solutions, and our school with our students and, our teachers and our neighboring schools, we are really looking for creating some awareness of the problems that we are facing for a daily commute. And we just feel that it is not fair on us and our kids to be stuck on the road for such a long. And today, after a long time, I'm enjoying the rain. But, on other days, I'm stuck in traffic, and by the time I reach school, I reach home, I'm so exhausted. That's the last thing on my mind. So, yes, we are really looking for something.
And rain does make it worse.
It makes it really worse, and it makes it very dangerous for the buses and also for the, private vehicles, because we cannot assess how big the pothole is. So it is very dangerous out here.
You're right. It's you cannot assess how big a pothole is. Have you had, what's the most, let's cut the fun out, and this is because this is serious conversation. What's the most scary experience you've had in a pothole, whether you've seen it or one that you have been in yourself?
So I think the scariest experience is whenever we go over a pothole, it's almost as though every student flies in the bus. Especially for younger kids, kindergartners on the bus, I feel so scared for them, because they might be having back injuries because of it. They might be hitting the seat so hard that they could be injured. Some students even get stomach aches on the bus and start puking because it's so difficult for them to be on the bus for such a long time. I've had to take a student out of the bus and send her to a public restroom because she was puking in the bus. It was taking too long to reach home. And just because of so many potholes, motion sickness is exacerbated. So it's just a terrible experience for all the young kids.
But it's a free roller coaster ride, some would say. You get a free roller coaster ride without having to go to an amusement park. Just hit Bengaluru roads.
Yeah, I've seen many vehicles take the wrong side of the road just to avoid potholes, because there's this one stretch while going home, there are multiple huge craters, and once I was even sleeping and I got launched up and I almost hit my head to the side of the bus, which was
You can see it right now. You can see how vehicles are going double lane because the road's so small here. Each one's doing 3 lanes, 4 lanes. It turns into a 5 lane, doesn't it, at this time of the day?
Yes, that's the problem. It's supposed to be 2 lanes. It turns into 4 lanes, 5 lanes. And then you have the traffic moving from on the wrong side. And then what happens is that you don't know who's going to collide, because you don't know, because of the potholes, that the traffic just moves on the wrong side also. So you're really stuck.
That's right. Do you believe that there will be a solution? Let me ask this to all of you. We've discussed the problems. This is not new, right? As teachers, do you believe that your kids are going to be optimistic? Are you optimistic that there will be a solution? Let me start with you, Swati.
I am optimistic. Yes, we are a city that is growing. People are coming in. But we all love Bangalore. And I know a lot of initiatives are being taken, a lot of, with the government, they are coming out with programs. But while I'm optimistic, I'm really thinking about some short-term solutions that we can have to have,
What can we do to solve this problem tomorrow? What do you think we can do to solve this problem tomorrow?
I don't know. There's so much. The city's so dense, for one, and the infrastructure just cannot accommodate it. So I'm not sure we can even fix it in 2 years.
Okay, you don't think we can fix it in 2 years? Do you think it'll be fixed? Because DK Shivkumar has said that all potholes will be fixed in November. You think fixing potholes will solve the problem?
It will help
That's a big promise.
tremendously. But I think we should also lay roads which don't just break with one rain.
Important point. What do you say is the solution?
Government is putting all the efforts to make repair the roads, but within one rainy season it gets spoiled again. So they should use good material to build good roads faster.
Use good material to build good roads. Any solution beyond all of this? As a person who handles the transport for the InVenture Academy, what do you think can possibly be a solution from the school student point of view?
So for me, I think, yes, potholes are the most important thing. If that gets filled, then I think the vehicles will move faster. I think the children will be also safe on the bus. But in the long run, I think, yes, better roads, better material, and maybe more public transport, bus transport. Maybe have more police on the road to monitor the traffic. Something like that will surely help.
Right. Lasya and Aditya, final thoughts from you guys. Are you guys hopeful? Are you going to leave Bengaluru like Blackbuck is saying that it's going to leave Belandur? Do you want to find another part of Bengaluru where you want to go and live in?
No, I want to stay here and I'm extremely optimistic about this. Okay. When I started this campaign last year, I definitely had some other thoughts. I had second thoughts about it, but the traction that we've got in the last year has just made me believe in the people more than anything else. If we unite students, teachers, parents, newspapers, everybody together, I think we can solve this issue. Whether it's just coordinating our bus timings between schools or actually going and fixing the potholes ourselves as students, I'm ready to do anything to get this traffic issue solved.
On that positive note, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, definitely. I think children are the future of the world, and we will figure out a way to solve this problem.
You will figure out a way to drive around the potholes. That's what you're saying, but it's raining and it's about 5:30 right now. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it back to the studio in time at 7 o'clock for all the political discussions with Vasudha, who's all set in that studio. So I'll leave it right here. Let's hope and see what happens to Bengaluru's potholes. We've had this rain discussion here from one of the roads in Bengaluru, which is notorious for its traffic and its conditions.
My colleague and friend Veera Raghav there getting us that very important report on Bengaluru's battered roads, riddled with potholes, flooding and delays. You heard mothers there, you heard children, you heard youngsters, all optimistic but also very concerned. Now, the state of the city of Bengaluru has sparked anger from residents and warnings from the industry as well. Now, the state government has promised a 1,000 crore revamp with a November deadline, while the BJP accuses Congress party of skewing funds towards its own constituencies. Now, besides potholes, the issue is also about governance, fairness, and whether India's tech capital can keep pace with its own growth. Joining me right now is Anand Gurumurthy of the BJP and Samruddh Hegde of the Congress party. Samruddh Hegde, from school students who posted that video on potholes from a bus to an industry leader saying that this is enough. Is it even possible to annoy so many people? You know, many of them are also sounding quite pessimistic now. What is the government doing about this?
Vasudha, while we acknowledge and are cognizant that Bangalore has a massive pothole crisis and that our infrastructure, our road infrastructure is finding it difficult to cope with the massive influx of vehicles, the massive influx of people and the incessant rains, there is no doubt that the pothole crisis is massive and that the people are really suffering. But it's also important to note that this is neither a problem that has sprung up today, nor is it an issue that is limited to our metropolis. The path to fix our roads is also ridden with potholes, and we require systemic change. And for the first time, we have a proactive government that is taking measures to fix these potholes, be it the launching of the apps to geotag potholes, the 1,700 crores which has been allocated for Bangalore roads, the citizen consultations that's being taken place, the increased deployment of personnel. But Mr.
Hegde, before I go to Anand Gurumurthy, is it even possible to get all of this solved by November? Is this an unrealistic deadline? Because a school kid in Veera's video also says that there are over 100 potholes in a 650-meter stretch.
Vasudha, if there are 100 potholes in a 650-meter stretch, it would be easy to fix. to fix one road. But however, there are 5,000 potholes which are open across Bangalore right now. What we're doing is we're identifying the problem, we're identifying the potholes, we're geotagging them. We require collective action from citizen groups, from the government, and we require a deadline. Yes, November is a deadline. We are trying to fix as many potholes as possible, but we both know, and all of us know, it requires more infrastructure. We require more time to build Bangalore's
let me get in
infrastructure.
Anand Gurumurthy here. Shivakumar, DK Shivakumar, the Deputy Chief Minister, says that this is exactly why they made 5 corporations. Obviously, it looks like the government is working on this. Mr. Hegde also pointed out to the apps and also the budgeting the budget that's been allotted. What do you think is not really working?
Basically, before the Siddaramaiah government, went out of power, they had a very big debt with the contractors, BBMP contractors. Okay. And then the COVID hit during the BJP time, and after that, money was collected. And when Basavaraj Bommai resigned from the Chief Minister post, because we lost the elections, there was about 2,000 crores which was left in the treasury, and it was allocated that it will be used for Bangalore infrastructure and to pay back the BBMP contractors who were going bust. That was one thing which was, taken up, and Congress government, as soon as it came, it changed the whole theory of it, and it told, no, we are going to utilize it for something else. Now, from there, the problem starts. This happened in 2023, and during 2023, 2024, we have already faced a lot of issues. It's not that, the issue did not exist even before that. Bangalore is a very fast-growing city, and there is more than 1.5 crores is the actual population of Bangalore, and it's almost 1/4 of the Karnataka state's, population. So it requires a lot of planning and lot of discipline, fiscal discipline from the government side. See, when a previous government has decided a fund and allocated it, they should not have delayed it by 2 years. Now, they delayed it by 2 years, did not add any budget to it, and now they're telling that they're going to fix it. Okay, I don't know, with 1,000 crores, it is impossible, as Mr. Hegde is positive about it. If they fix it, I'm very happy, because, the citizens need relief. But from a perspective of engineering and from a perspective of the hope of people, and also from the contractors who work there, from what they speak, what you feel is these guys are not doing the job properly.
Okay, Mr. Hegde, let me ask you a question here. Will penalties apply if if penalties, will they apply if contractors miss deadlines? Because Anand Gurumurthy is pointing out to this very important fact that this is very ambitious.
I have to add one more thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go on.
There's one more problem here. The way the officials are being posted, the way the things are being done, right, it involves a lot of issues there. There's a lot of corruption going on, which people are complaining day in and day out in all the policies that this government is doing. With such corrupt officials, do you think we'll get any kind of justice? So I'm very pessimistic about it. Right from the beginning, there is corruption.
But Mr. Gurumurthy, I do feel that, with the BJP at the center for so long, they should have also brought in a law for local bodies, maintenance for the elections to take place. I think that is something that your government could have also done. But yes, blaming the state government for the kind of mess that Bengaluru is in right now. Mr. Hegde, answer this one question.
Can I answer that?
No, let me get Mr. Hegde and then I'll come to you. How are you going to deal with the problem of contractors missing deadlines? How are you going to expedite this target, because it is an ambitious one?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I find it funny coming from the BJP, who spent 7,000 crores on 25,000 potholes. That's around 20 lakh a pothole, and they've barely done any work, and that's what we inherited. So that's the difference we're trying to make, and that the difference we're trying to make is in forming the Greater Bangalore Authority. So it's a structural and a systemic reform that we've brought in. And you're extremely right. We have to take action against the contractors who are missing deadlines, and not just missing deadlines, but also doing shoddy work. So the tendering process will also have to be looked into. And most importantly, the BBMP elections, which was stalled by the BJP, and the delimitation exercise, which was quashed by the High Court, requires to be done again. We require a corporation elected by the people to look after the people's needs. And yes, I agree that Bangalore is the capital, and we have nurtured Bangalore as the capital of innovation. And we can't forget that we also won't tolerate the kind of smear campaign that is being run. even despite the roads and the potholes, we have received the maximum amount of FDI this year.
Okay, that's also because, because of a variety of reasons, and there are legacy problems, there are also issues that are working for you. Mr. Gurumurthy, you had a point to make, sir.
See, basically, blaming a government that went off 2.5 years ago, it's totally wrong, because there was a surplus budget and there was a path that had to be followed, which, the way Siddaramaiah egoistically says, we have the numbers, we'll do whatever we want. That's the wrong thing. Listen to the opposition, listen to what people are telling. People are telling there are potholes. Kids make videos and our DCM says that is political. They are traveling daily. People understand. You see, these people in the government, all these ministers and all these big people of Congress, right? And all the
But Mr. Gurumurthy, could the centre have done something with regard to this? Mr. Gurumurthy, could the centre or even the BJP, could they have done something regard to this? Because while there are many controversies with regard to Congress leaders, the BJP doesn't seem to be unseating Siddaramaiah.
At the centre, could we make a law? Okay. See, central management, if it comes into picture, okay, everywhere you want the center to manage everything. Okay, you say in Jammu and Kashmir, when center was managing, the media was asking when is the state election. Once the state election comes, they say there's again Pulwama happened. When is the center coming back? This is not the way. People must understand that the local leaders must take responsibility. If the village panchayat, if the municipality don't take responsibility, you think everything will be fixed from Delhi? No. Bangalore has enough resources, enough funds, enough intelligent people to fix it. Okay. Our officers are fine, but it's
completely out of time. But that's a good point that you made. That political accountability needs to be fixed, especially in a state like Karnataka, where we often see change in governments. Thank you, Gurumurthy, and thank you, Mr. Hegde, for joining us on this debate. Bengaluru doesn't just needs roads that are patched; it also needs a rebuilding of trust. Clearly, like my colleague Veera's report also showed, the coming months will also show whether the state government can move from announcements to visible, lasting results, or whether potholes will remain the city's most enduring, most evident symbols.